Hello everyone. Recently I have been waiting for Sega to reveal the next Sonic game, and sadly we are still in this drought. So to hold myself over, I've been replaying Mega Collection on the GameCube. I love this collection and it's probably my favorite collection of all time. This game is so nostalgic for being a collection of nostalgic games. I mean, this collection has manuals, comics, videos, and many extras. Now, there have been other collections that came out after this one, including a PlayStation 2 and Xbox version, but I feel like people will agree that this is the best Sonic collection, if not the most nostalgic. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, again, next year is Sonic's 30th birthday. While I do want a sequel to Mania and an Adventure remake, it's time for a new collection of Sonic games. So let's make a new Sonic collection. Now, I would call this collection Sonic Anthology. Why? Because I feel like it's distinctive, it stands out, and it doesn't use the word collection. Like we have Mega Collection Plus, Gems Collection, Ultimate Gems Collection, and Classic Collection. That's what I would call it, but if you have any other suggestions, let me know down in the comments below. Now here are the games I had selected. Yeah, it's a huge collection, and I will explain a bit about why I excluded some games. I went to the Saturn version of 3D Blast because it's the better version of the game. Some might think I am excluding Sonic and Knuckles, which I kinda am, but the Sonic 3 in this collection is the full experience. Just hope that they fix some legal issues about the game. I wanted this collection to have the big hits like Sonic 2 and Genesis, but also wanted some obscure ones like Sonic Pocket Adventure on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. With that being said, let's talk about the anniversary editions. Before we talk about the anniversary edition, I want to talk about the versions that are listed under original. So for example, Sonic 1 and 2 are the Christian Whitehead releases. And the reason why it's not the original Genesis versions is because you can find them anywhere. You can find the original Sonic 1 and 2 anywhere these days on Switch, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, you know what I mean. But for Sonic 3, that's the original 1994 release with Sonic 3 and Knuckles combined, so that's one thing. Sonic Chaos, that's the Master System version, not the Game Gear version, just to clarify. You can switch between the Master System and the Game Gear soundtracks of Sonic Chaos, if you prefer one over the other. Under original, Sonic Mania is the 2017 release, so it doesn't have the Plus DLC. Sonic CD is the original version on the Sega CD, while the Anniversary Edition at the basis is a Christian Whitehead port. So just to let you guys know. The Anniversary Editions are pretty much semi-remakes or remasters of most of the games in this collection. These are the games that don't have Anniversary Editions, meaning they have no change whatsoever. Since this is a Christian Whitehead version of Sonic CD, it should have the cut Final Fever boss restored to make the game more climactic. In the Anniversary Edition, Knuckles Chaotix only needs you to be Acts 1 to 2 of a zone, along with Act 5 left intact due to it being the boss act instead of playing through all 5 acts of a zone. Sonic Mania has a Plus DLC, but in the Anniversary Edition, there are a few things added. You can now play as Sonic with the Sonic 3 sprites. There's a new opening scene for Mighty Ray where they're stuck in the egg castle before it gets knocked over, and the option to play as Mighty Ray like Sonic and Tails in Mania mode. In 3D Blast, you now just need 3 flickies instead of 5, and you can switch between the Genesis and the Saturn soundtracks. Sonic Advance just has more special springs across the levels, and you can play as Super Sonic, Super Tails, Super Knuckles, and introducing for the first time, Super Amy in regular levels. In Advance 2, you only need to collect 3 out of the 7 special rings, and you can collect all Chaos Emeralds once just to unlock Amy. Plus, even though there's no Super Cream, there is Super Cheese who pretty much breaks the game even further. You only need to collect 3 of the 10 challenges to reach the special stage in Sonic Advance 3, and there's an option to play as one character if you want. Sonic 4 is actually both episodes combined into one with the full story intact. You can now play as Metal Sonic in regular levels, and Sonic and Tails are a playable option for episode 1. Also, Super Tails is playable. Finally, there's a new true ending where Little Planet is freed from the Death Egg Mar 2. So that is all the games with just additional changes and remastered soundtracks. Now, let's talk about the games that their anniversary editions are remakes. The anniversary editions for these games are essentially like Mario All-Stars in a way. They are remakes with a lot of new content. So here are the games that their anniversary editions are remakes. I will start off with remakes that probably will be easy to make. Sonic Drift 2 will be the best one to start off with. First off, let's stick with the European name, Sonic Drift Racing, since this remake contains all the tracks from 1 and 2. I think the game's graphics should be styled if Drift was made on the Genesis. Also, make the roads wider since this game is styled like a Genesis game. A thing that should come back in Drift Racing is the character endings. The first game had them, but they were cut in the second one. So everyone should have one in Drift Racing. Also, the first and second game's soundtracks should be merged into one and be remixed Genesis style. Finally, there should be multiplayer up to 4 people. Sonic Pocket Adventure is the most obscure Sonic game due to it being on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Now the interesting thing about Pocket Adventure is that fans theorize that this is a prequel to Sonic Adventure, with some of the sprites in this game kinda indicating that. The game's graphics should be like a Genesis or Saturn game. Also, there needs to be hints about Adventure being the next game in the lineup, like seeing Station Square in the background of Neo South Island. Also, the soundtrack should still have its 8-bit sound font, but there needs to be more original songs, since all the songs in this game were from different Sonic games. Let's have Blake Pfeffer, the guy who made the fantastic fan games Sonic Before and After the sequel, to make this remake, since it's kind of like Sonic Before the Adventure, if you get what I'm saying. Tails Adventure is a great spin-off game, and this game should be completely remade to look like a Sonic Advance game. There needs to be more story implemented from the manual stating that this game takes place after Sonic 3, and the story itself should be the focus with some anime cutscenes. Maybe there should be a hint system for players to help them know where to go, like having some island inhabitants giving you hints. There should be more bosses and especially some secret bosses of winning Wish Cart. The final boss should have Great Battle Cuckoo and a giant robot to make the game more climactic. As usual, we should have a new soundtrack for this game. I think the people behind the Alex Kidd remake can work on this game. That'd be good. Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble are great Sonic games back in the 90s, and are debatably the best Game Gear Sonic games. Fans are remaking Sonic Chaos and Triple Trouble, so I believe that these remakes should be the anniversary edition in this collection if Sega endorses them. Now we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic 3 is remastered by Christian Whitehead, but it has some things from ROM hacks Sonic 3 Asian Island Revisited, like the music options, zone order, or sprite changes. Now the graphics are remade to be like Sonic 2 HD. Speaking of Sonic 2 HD, that should be the anniversary edition for Sonic 2. Now I'm not trying to force on the people behind these remakes on what to do, these are just little suggestions. There needs to be an opening scene of Sonic going to the West Side Island and meeting Tails for the first time. There should be stage transitions from the end of each zone. Hidden Palace Zone should be a full 2-act zone between Mystic Cave and Oil Ocean. Finally, Sonic 1. Let's start off that we should have an opening cutscene that introduces Sonic, who is just running around until he notices robots, which kickstarts his adventure. The Game Gear special stages are now bonus stages and are accessed by getting 25 rings when you get to a checkpoint. The new zone order for this game is now Green Hill Zone, Bridge Zone, Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone, Jungle Zone, Labyrinth Zone, Starlight Zone, Scrap Rain Zone, and if you get all 6 Chaos Emeralds by the end, Skybase Zone. The map in the Game Gear version returns along with stage transitions. There's a new final boss on Skybase Zone where Eggman gets in this huge red mechanical hedgehog he can control called the Egg Hedgehog. Think of it as the predecessor to Silver Sonic and the Death Egg robot. It's huge, couldn't really move much, fire missiles from his eyes, throws his spines at Sonic, and throws green bombs. To defeat it, just hit Robotnik when he reveals himself in the cockpit. Now, the true ending is Sonic getting off the Skybase before it explodes as he runs back to Green Hill. The graphics should be like Sonic 2 HD and the soundtrack should be redone. Some Game Gear music tracks like its version of Labyrinth Zone will be Labyrinth Zone's Act 3 song, while Scrap Rain Zone's Game Gear song will be Act 2 to 3. The Genesis bosses should have their boss theme, while the Game Gear boss theme plays for the Game Gear bosses. Now that was a lot to take in. I hope you enjoyed these ideas I have for the anniversary edition for these games. However, I am not done yet. You see, the other collections have more than just games, so let's talk about them. Now, Sonic Anthology should have a lot of presentation / so care put into it, like Mega Collection. Like, the menus should stay flat and they don't have to look crazy, but they should look festive and have a sense of history. So here's some menus I made up. FYI, we're going to treat Mania like it was a Saturn game. Also, we should have different borders for each game if we want them on. Maybe have some screen filters where it's like we're playing on an old school TV from the 90s. Have you guys ever played the Mega Man Legacy collections? They have a feature called Stage Remix, which is pretty much a challenge on how fast you can get through a collection of stages from a specific Mega Man game. After you beat it, you can compare your scores to others across the leaderboards online. Let's do that for this collection for Sonic. There are boss rushes available for these games, and like Zone Remix, which is what we're going to call it, you can compare your boss rush scores online as well. Here's something that would be really cool to see. I got this exact idea from Scott the Raw's video on making a Smash Bros. Game, so full credit goes to him. This is where we control Sonic in his King outfit through a museum that documents Sonic's 30-year-long history. Let's say you went to the year 1993, for example. You'll see the games that came out in that year. Some fun facts about the development behind that game. Info about what characters debuted in that year. The cool thing about this museum is that it documents any aspect of Sonic's history, like the cartoons, his appearance in Smash Brothers, and the movies. There should be an updated version of the History of Sonic video from Mega Collection that now goes up to 2020. Obviously, the manuals come back and they will still be a nice read. This collection will also have illustrations from Mega Collection returning as well. There should be concept art of all the games of Sonic's 30-year history. You can listen to the soundtrack of the games that are in the collection and their anniversary editions version. You can read some of the comics, and this time, the Archie comics are updated to the last issue, and the IDW comics are available as well. Gotta have both, right? There are some cartoons available like the Mania Adventures and Man of the Year, and there should be a conclusion to that short in this collection. Maybe we can have the original Sonic movie available to watch. Oh, we should have interviews with people behind Sonic. Yuji Naka, Naoto Oshima, Hirokazu Yasuhara, since they are the fathers of Sonic. Takashi Iizuka, Drew Sano, Ryan Drummond, Jason Griffith, Roger Craig Smith, Ben Schwartz, Jeff Fowler, Ian Flynn, Christian Whitehead, Tyson Hess, T. Lopes, Aaron Weber, and many more who deserve to be interviewed. The last thing in this gallery is something I'm bringing back from Sonic and the Black Knight, the fan art showcase. Yeah, let's be honest here. Sonic is nothing without his fan base. We should have fans submit fan art to this collection and have 5 to 10 videos of them with that remix of It Doesn't Matter from Black Knight or something that's just relaxing. So yeah, that was Sonic Anthology. It's full of fan service, great content, and just a great collection. I feel like a new collection game to this degree would satisfy Sonic fans a lot. It's Sonic's 30th anniversary next year, and yeah, we should have a collection game to hold us over from future games. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching.